Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
How you doing? I'm Dave. Thank you for downloading the podcast. It's good to be with you once again. You know, as of this morning, I was checking our numbers. We had our 10,000th download of the show. And I think that's incredible for the summer little show that we started back in January because we were bored during COVID. And I want to thank you for sharing it on your socials and telling people about it. It's certainly been fun for me to do it. And we've got listeners all around the world. And I also want to thank Red Circle. They're my host. And the way this works, you have a host that shares your podcast out on all the different sites, from iTunes to Stitcher to Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. They make it available, and they started monetizing it just a few weeks ago. Now, what does that mean? You're hearing, if you've been listening to the podcast, all of a sudden you're starting to hear commercials in it, right? We've got a couple that start and then a couple at the end, and I think they're putting one now in the middle. I hope you'll have patience with that, but that's how we keep the lights on, and it does help considerably. And you might even want to consider, if you really like this podcast and want to keep it going, there are ways to donate on those sites. So we appreciate that as well. So we have got a great guest today. He's a songwriter, a producer, multi-instrumentalist, and just an all-around great guy. I've seen him playing around Nashville a lot and getting a lot of attention. And before I introduce you to him, I've got to tell you about our friends at Discover Sooner, kind of our local sponsor here. Discover Sooner and my good friend Nancy Deckant. She's the CEO. And if you listen to episode 2, season 2, you heard a lot more about Nancy, great songwriter and the CEO of Discover Sooner. She's created this online community that's absolutely incredible. It's songwriters, just like you perhaps, that can get together, learn how to collaborate with each other, make connections. I played the Commodore Grill last night, and one of the gals from Discover Sooner came by, said hello, and we met for the first time face to face, although we've seen each other on Zoom a lot. So it's that kind of community. There's also publishers, music people. They have these events that they Zoom and sometime in person where you can get together and talk to these publishers. So if you're looking for placements, what to do with these great songs, try Discover Sooner. Like Nancy says, you can get discovered sooner with Discover Sooner, and it's discoversooner.com. It's so simple. So if you will, check it out today. Troy Castellano is our guest. I've seen him play everywhere in this town, including the Bluebird Cafe. Troy, good to have you on the show today. Thank you for being on.
Hey, Dave, good. Congratulations on that 10,000 downloads on the podcast.
I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And I love how people have embraced this, especially the people here in Nashville, and we're all over the world as well. But it's kind of cool because I think the songwriters just don't get enough attention for what they do. You guys, you work so hard, making something from nothing, as we say, and you get very little respect about it. Nobody knows the songwriters.
It's
right?
always great to hear other writers' perspective and where they come from and their future outlooks on it too. And it's like,
exactly.
I consume my podcasts on the lawnmower.
Do you?
Yeah. Put in my earbuds and that's what I listen to is songwriting podcasts.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I hope you're adding this one to it. We've got a visitor here. We've got Juliet, my cat, and she did the same thing on the last podcast.
This is a true Nashville cat.
Yeah, she's a true Nashville cat. Sweetie, I'm going to have to take you out. You can't be doing that on the microphone here, kiddo. Come on.
You're all right, kitty cat.
Well, let's start with one of my favorite songs that you do. I've seen you do this at the Bluebird and a lot of other places around town. This is called Quitter, and then when we come back, I want to hear the story behind the song.
Sure.
Absolutely. And also about your video. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, cool.
You know, some people say a real man never quits, but I admit that this one did. I wasn't loving the life I was living, so I walked away from it. And I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit needing and overthinking, I quit lying, I quit cheating, I quit blaming and I quit leaving. And I've never felt more like a winner since I've become a quitter. I've been hurting those care about. I tore them up and let them down, but I'm living proof people can change. Look at the man I am today. I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit needing and overthinking, I quit lying, I quit cheating, I quit blaming, and I quit leaving. And I've never felt more like a winner since I've become a quitter. Since I've become a quitter. I don't really miss one thing that I'm not doing. My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. And I quit hating, I quit judging, I quit waiting and holding grudges. I quit fighting, I quit taking, I quit reliving my past mistakes. And I've never felt more like a winner. No, I've never felt more like a winner since I've become a quitter. Since I've become a quitter. Since I've become a quitter.
Troy Castellano is our guest on the Songwriter Connection podcast. That's his song called Quitter. It's from his CD, Sketches?
Sketches from My Blue Heaven.
From My Blue Heaven, which is your studio, right?
Yeah, so like being a songwriter, more than trying to be an artist, I'm an artist as well, so I like to put out what these are. I have a volume 1 and a volume 2 out, and they're just some of my favorite writes and songs that I play out as well. So
more and more songwriters are doing that, you know.
Yeah.
If you can't get them placed or cut, you know, you don't want to waste these songs. They're beautiful songs. People need to hear them.
Yeah.
So why not make your own CD and put it out there?
Yep, and then the CDs are slowly, they're disappearing, but I find that people like them as a souvenir. So if you do play the Bluebird, people just like to buy it for a souvenir of the show and their actual songs that you played that night. So that's the importance of still having a physical commodity of music. I think, you know.
I think so too. I mean, you gotta have something physical, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Although you can find it on Spotify and the video for that song we just heard too is out there on YouTube, right?
Yeah. Most people, I'm sure, they buy the CD. It goes in their car. They don't put it in the car. It just they turn on their Spotify and listen to it. But they can actually say, and I feel that way too. Like if I met Garth Brooks and got a CD from him, I go, I got this right from Garth. You know,
and he signed it.
Yeah. Not that I'm Garth Brooks by any means, but that connection between an artist and the tourists and fans coming to see songwriter stuff.
So it's always the story behind the songs on this show. So Quitter, first time I think I heard you play that for sure at the Bluebird Cafe, and I thought, that's a hit. So tell us a little bit about who you wrote it with, and the process, and the idea, because that is a cool twist. I mean, quitter is usually a negative thing. Nobody wants to be a quitter, but this is you twisted it positive, and that's what songwriters do.
Yeah, I'm 100% of that twist goes to my co-writer Brett Mandel. We were writing a lot. Brett's a lyric guy, so he'll come in with a bunch of different lyrics, and he had that one on paper the day we were actually waiting for a co-writer to come in, so we were just tinkering around, and he throws that on the piano I was sitting at, and I go, oh man, I got the melody and music that's going to hook right up into this. And so we started fleshing it out, and we got it to a point where we think, yeah, that's it. That took about 20 minutes. We maybe changed a word or two, but not too much. then we went and got feedback on it from some of our peers in town, and it's like different, everybody has an opinion.
Everybody does.
So we took those opinions and tried to rewrite it, and I tell you what, we just went right back to the original,
Did you really?
Except for the end, we rewrote that, which is my favorite verse, the one about I quit hating, quit judging, quit waiting and holding grudges. I mean, that's so today and so important. I love that part of it.
Now, we've talked in the past about NSAI. That's the Nashville Songwriters Association International. Many times we mentioned it on the show. You took that to NSAI and got a little surprise.
Brett had played it for Bart Herbison, the executive director of NSAI. And he called me and left me a voicemail. I was in the studio, so I didn't see it ring, but I wish I would have saved it because Bart, is a pretty monumental person in Nashville, cool, especially to us up-and-coming songwriters. Yeah. And he left me a voicemail, says, Troy, I just heard the most important song of my life, and I heard Live Like You Were Dying, and recently I heard Outskirts of Heaven. And he says, man, this is right there on par with them. I'm like... He said, you better get your big britches up because this is opening the doors,
Wow.
And I was like, wow, really?
That's high praises.
Yeah. It was really, really felt good to hear that from somebody that you respect, because usually it's a tear down,
Usually it is.
And those tear downs, they're not bad because they make you better. But, yeah, and then I think it went up and down Music Row, and it had been pitched, and it's just one of those songs that maybe, recently, big hit producer, I played it for him, and I played it for him because I thought maybe this would be a good one for maybe Morgan Wallen to drop out right now if he's in this mess with what happened there, right. And he said, man. Yeah, maybe, but I'll tell you what, he said, no major artist is going to cut it because it makes them look like a butthead, Basically puts them in a bad light because they were bad, but now I'm good because I quit doing things. And I think this is where I think Nashville loses some sight on connecting with people on a real level, other than just a party and beach and all the circumstances that, we want to feel good and be happy because there's enough depressing stuff in the world, but you also want to say some real things. And before we were on mic,
you talk about that, and to me, when a producer, publisher tells you that no artists want to be considered, like, for instance, quitter, right?
Put in a bad light.
Or put in a bad light. What about, there are thousands of songs out there. What happened to the days where the songwriter was interpreting the story? They're telling a story. It's obvious that Jimi Hendrix he wasn't Joe and he didn't shoot his girlfriend down, right? Yeah. We knew that was a character he was singing about. Did it put him in a bad light? I don't know. So sometimes I wonder, about that kind of logic.
And the main thing, the main point of that song is like, hey, yeah, man, I probably pissed some people off along my journey here, but man, I've seen the light and I've backed up, and I really appreciate to have a future now that I've quit doing these things. And I hope
it's a good message.
Yeah, and it's back to what I said is like things this is what I say Nashville's missing, because did you ever meet Ralph Murphy?
I did. What a great guy.
Yeah. And, and he said...
he used to run ASCAP, great songwriter.
Yep. Yeah, great mentor,
and
all of that.
Taught songwriting. Yeah, just a super great guy. And we lost him a couple years ago. But.
One of his points was always like, people have enough troubles in their life. You need to make them happy and forget about that stuff, not remind them about it. But,
exactly.
But I think these are where songs connect with people when you really hit and say issues that everybody's going through or felt at one point.
Right.
Connect with them, and then they feel like someone else. Oh, you feel that same way? Me too.
That's what it's about.
We're missing that. We're just being too superficial, and this is not a slam on Nashville, the industry, but like, man. Let's get back to songs that really connected on more than a surface level of life,
It's kind of our whole society right now.
Yeah.
It goes even deeper than that. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I just go back to saying, what I said before. Bob Marley didn't really shoot the deputy, right? We knew that was a character.
That's right. Yeah.
So, all good points. Troy Castellano is our guest. Hey, should we play another song?
Yeah.
This is from Volume 2.
Volume 2.
Volume 2.
Sketches from My Blue Heaven.
Yes, which is your studio, and I want to talk more about that in just a little bit. This is called Tattoo and Scars. Play that one?
Yeah.
Let's play that one, all right, and we'll find out more about that, too.
It's just a little line under my eye from a swing set when I was 4 or 5. And this watch on my wrist and this nick on my chin, I got them both from my dad when I was just 10. So many memories are tied to these colors and marks. Some you see and others run too deep. Some come from taking it too far. They're all telltale signs, pieces of my life. Yeah, they make up who we are. Tattoos and scars. Tattoos and scars. And there's other ones that I bury inside, like a broken heart that I got in 2009. And this faded girl's name on my arm I left to remind me my past is behind me. So many memories are tied to these colors and marks. Some you see and others run too deep. Some come from taking it too far. They're all telltale signs, pieces of my life. Yeah, they make up who we are. Tattoos and scars. Tattoos and scars. Like a book you read with your history, and every page tells a different story. Some you see and others run too deep. Some come from taking it too far. They're all telltale signs, pieces of my life. Yeah, they make up who we are. Yeah, they make up who we are. Tattoos and scars. Tattoos and scars. It's just a little line under my eye from a swing set when I was 4 or 5.
Another great song from Troy Castellano, who's our guest on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Again,
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for being on the show. Tell us about the writing of that song, story behind that one.
That song, so I had met Andrew Rollins, who is an incredible writer, and he's been...
I've certainly heard that name.
Yeah, he lives in L.A. now, but he's originally from Nashville, and he had a lot of success with the Nashville TV show. I think he had like 12 songs on that show.
Wow.
You know,
wow, really
amazing. And I met him one night at the listening room, and we decided let's give a write a shot. And I had this idea of tattoos and scars, and they're the things that make you up, and some you see, some you don't, you know. And let's just jump on that. And I had that. It's just a little line under my eye from a swing set when I was 4 or 5. You know,
line, yeah.
And he's like, oh man, I've had this line burning for a while about see this watch on my wrist and this nick on my chin. I got it from my dad when I was just 10. It wasn't quite that line, but we shaped it into that, you know?
Yeah.
But and it really excited him, which excited me because this veteran songwriter's really excited about it. And
That's
then,
cool.
and we just, wrote it out, and it's like, a lot of people have tattoos of their girlfriends or ex-wives, and I thought, that's a perfect one too. And most people cover them up, but I'm like, sometimes you got to leave that to remember where you were.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yeah, I love that
So any tattoos on you?
Yeah, I got my kid's name.
Oh, that's good.
It's a staff on my
cool.
wrist of the. It's their names, their favorite colors, and then it's the first few bars of "You Are My Sunshine."
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah,
and I do have my wife's name under
that watch
band. Yeah, and the date we were married, so I can never forget.
No, there's a good idea. And you never forget an anniversary.
Yep,
Just look at your wrist.
Infinity sign under it with her favorite color.
Oh.
So, and then I got a couple other ones too.
It's very clever. Yeah. There's people out there going, I got to get a tattoo.
You know, quick stories. Like I went in to get the tattoo of my kids' names and their favorite colors on my wrist, and then I was telling the tattoo guy, "Hey, and I want to come back and get my wife's name and our wedding date." And he says, "Well, I'll just do that for free right now."
Wow.
So, and he did it for free that day. So
very cool.
Yeah.
You know, on this show, we do like to do songs live around the dining room table here. We're not doing that with Troy, and you have a very good reason why. You have your own studio, and I want to talk more about it. And you have a philosophy about this too. So shoot, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mind playing live. I do it a lot.
You do it a lot,
but like in this circumstance where somebody's going to be consuming the podcast with earbuds on or in a home stereo or something, like, why not play the recording of the song you wrote? Because then it's in more of an established form of what you thought it could be.
Gotcha.
Finished
version.
Yeah, and it's like any songwriter. You pay for all these great demos, man, and you're on a platform to play it in stereo. Mm-hmm. Do it because you spent that time and money on it. Let's hear the ear candy. That's what I feel.
Ah, there you go. Very good. Now, are these produced in your studio?
Yeah, these are all demos that I produce. So
playing most of the instrumentation, or
pretty much. You know, give or take. I think like on that Tattoos and Scars, I had sent the track to Andrew, and he put some guitar on there.
Oh, nice.
And I don't remember if he did the bass or I did the bass, but that happens too. But most of the stuff on these is me playing it. It's the way that I went back after writing the song and produced the demo.
So you play a lot of different instruments, don't you?
Yeah, I can fake it. I'm not fluent on things like the piano. I'm not fluent on piano, and it's like I can play to get my idea out, but if I'm going to put it in a form that I'm pitching, I want someone else to play that part.
I got you.
But if it's a slide guitar or a mandolin and it's just a lick, I can work out the lick, record it.
I got you.
But don't ask me to jump on stage and play the song, and on mandolin, because give me a few weeks to learn it.
I got you. Now you come from Minnesota originally.
Yeah,
right?
originally. Yeah.
How long have you been in Nashville?
7 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey, huh?
Now, is it the 10-year town or is it a 7-year curse right now is what I'm wondering.
3 more years to go, brother.
Yeah. Or the 7-year itch. Who knows what's coming. But
we always ask, what was the draw to Nashville? What brought you here?
Well, honestly, so I'd played in rock bands in Minnesota, cover band stuff. I always wrote music and tried to get things off the ground. I had a couple incarnations of my own band. And it came to a point where this attorney that I was working with, and he works with prominent national artists too, but so I really respected what he said. He said, "Troy, man, you got everything going for you. You're just geographically challenged trying to be in the business where there isn't a big business. Minneapolis has a music scene and stuff, and an indie scene more than anything, but
not a music capital. Though.
Yeah. He's like, you need to be in Nashville, New York, or L.A.
Right.
And I've been to L.A. a number of times. I'm not raising kids out there.
No.
And New York, I'm not a concrete and glass and all that. I'm like, that's not me. And I went to Nashville in 2012 for a workshop at Barbara Cloyd's workshop, which if you guys ever get a chance and are thinking about coming here, do her workshop. It's very, very economical, and you do get a 3-day immersion into what this business is like, and you get to meet publishers as well.
And she knows the business.
Yeah.
She's written hit songs, and is she still hosting the open mics at the Bluebirds?
So. Yeah,
I think she does.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And I took that workshop, and I went back to Minnesota, and I told my wife, man, my heart is screaming to live in Nashville. Mm-hmm. If we could ever make it work, I would love to move. And she says, "How's the weather?" I said, "Way better than Minnesota in the winter." So
yeah,
it took us another year and a half to get here, but I'm grateful that she was on board to make that big move.
How about that?
And that philosophy, I thought the whole time was like, we're not trees, we can move. And the back of that, everybody's not everybody. I think most people are reluctant to make those big decisions because, logistically, the hardest thing is getting your stuff from here to there.
Yeah,
when you're in middle life, I should say. Mm-hmm. What I had was a midlife revelation, not a crisis,
a revelation.
A revelation, and the hardest thing is the logistics of getting your stuff from here to there.
Yeah,
but otherwise, like I looked at it like this: I'm gonna come here. I'm not going to set myself up to fall and I'll just go, let's see what it's like. If I don't like it and we're not happy, we can move back.
Always good. Yeah.
I mean,
so far though, you love it.
I do. I don't think I'll ever move home. I mean, back to Minnesota, no.
Yeah, it's cool. Not only the climate, but the people. It's just a great community of
the
artists
camaraderie. And
camaraderie.
I mean, it's like we get to rely on each other to work on, to write songs together, to vent about what we dislike, to talk about the successes. It's like there's such a. I love the people. I love the
everybody
weather.
roots for everybody, don't they?
And the businesses here, so you have more opportunity to actually meet people.
And that's the truth. There was a hit songwriter friend of mine, Kerry Kurt Phillips, who once told us. He said, you can put a bucket out in the field, but you're never going to get a cow to back up over it.
Oh yeah, right.
So in that story, you say you got to come to Nashville. That's where the cow is. You know? So
exactly.
Yeah. So very very good point.
Yeah.
I also want to congratulate you. Last night we taped this in advance. Last night I played at the Commodore, and Justin Love was there. Justin, great artist and songwriter, and in fact he was on the very last show, season 1, episode 20. If you haven't heard that yet, go back. You guys wrote a song together called "I Want It," which is I think it's such a hit. It's such
thank you.
a
I
great
love that song too. Justin too is just an amazing artist, player, writer. He's the whole package.
Yeah, such a great guy.
Yeah,
and that just got picked up for a TV show, right? That's
we have got a placement in the series finale. I keep saying wanting to say season or series finale. Wait, I'm mixing them up. But it's in the series finale.
The very last
Claws.
one of the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of cool in itself. And
it's called Claws?
Yeah, it's called Claws, and it's about a group of girls that work at a salon and kind of have some organized crime going on underneath their whole facade of the salon.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, it's actually
the Breaking outrageous. Bad of the nail industry, right?
Yeah, and it's like very outrageous. But cool. Got 2 placements in there, so that'll be pretty cool to hear.
Very cool, and that pays some money.
Yeah,
and a lot of artists, a lot of songwriters today are going toward what they call sync for TV and movies, and it seems like we're always chasing.
Yeah, how can we make money off all of the hours and time we've spent on this, right?
Exactly.
Like the ROI on what we do is very hard to come by.
Absolutely. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Let's play another song from Heaven, My Blue Heaven Volume 2.
All right.
And this has got a good story too. I'm going to play Grateful next.
Oh, okay.
Is that good? Let's listen to it, and then I want to hear all about the song. And Grateful, Troy Castellano on the Songwriter Connection podcast.
Went down to the church with my neighbor, 'cause I feel that I lost my way. And the preacher says, son, you've been a stranger. Won't you think about the words I said today? When your feet hit the floor in the morning, take a moment to be thankful for each breath. If you have someone to hold and you love them, let them know. 'Cause you don't know how many days you're gonna get. May the sun always shine through the window, and a song always play in your head. when you're looking back, I hope that you'll be thankful and grateful for the road that lies ahead. When the storm blows out the power in the sun, light a candle and listen to the rain. And when the weather gets cold, let your kids track in the snow. 'Cause the truth is you're gonna miss it someday. May the sun always shine through your window, and a song always play in your head. And when you're looking back, I hope that you'll be thankful and grateful for the road that lies ahead. May the sun always shine through your window, and a song always play in your head. And when you're looking back, I hope that you'll be thankful and grateful for the road that lies ahead. And when you're looking back, I hope that you'll be thankful and grateful for the road that lies ahead.
Troy Castellano. The record is called Sketches from My Blue Heaven Volume 2, and that is called Grateful. Before I get to the story behind that, I was just reminded you did some shows from your studio with other songwriters.
Oh yeah,
Tell us about that. That was a cool thing you did.
Project 52.
Project 52.
So that was something I had started originally in Minnesota before, when our house was for sale.
Yeah.
I decided New Year's Day I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to write 52 songs.
Wow.
And I'm going to record them with a couple of good mics live and put one out every week.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, for a year. So I got about half of them done, and then our house sold. And then I moved here and finished the other half.
Did you really?
And yeah, that was 2014. And then, let me get closer to the mic here. And then I decided in 2000, I think it was 19, I'm like, we've been writing a lot of really great songs that nobody hears. And, you know this as well. On Facebook, your friends will be going like, well, we'll post something like, wrote a great song today, wrote a great song, all that banter. And then no one hears it, So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to do it almost, I didn't realize, but almost like a podcast format. Where, we're going to have 2 chairs, 2 mics, and we're going to do interviews and promo that artist that came in to play the song that I wrote with them. And that was a cool idea. That was really it. It's like, let's give each other some content. And I just, the name is lame. Project 52 is just like 52 episodes a year. Yeah. And it was a challenge to me when it was me doing it solo,
I'll bet.
Yeah, and it just forced me to get my muscles working for songwriting before I came here. And then, fortunately, with all the people I've written songs, I was able to get them to come over, and at least one, and maybe a 3-way, and we got one of the people, or if it was an artist that was playing it out, would bring them in and talk about their career and play a song we wrote.
So are you still doing it?
I'm not. I was thinking about it again and doing it, in a podcast format with video, just kind of like...
That'd be neat. Yeah.
Have both available.
Well, that would be really, really cool. Are they still out there? Can you see them?
Yeah, they're on YouTube. It's on youtube.com/Troy Castellano, and then you can just go down to the playlists, and there's Project 52 in there.
Check it out.
And there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but it's like, it's the raw song,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. All about the song, that is for sure. So let's get back to Grateful. Great song, and there's a little story behind that too.
Yeah, thank you. What you heard there was, most of that was recorded during the write. So really? I wrote that with Bill DeLuigi and Reed Waddle. Reed Waddle was one of the first friends I had when I came to Nashville. We were both writing at the same place up in they call it Berry Hill, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
a lot of great studios there.
We decided to get together and write, and I'm kind of a track guy. I'm not really great in the room doing it all, but that's what I started there, and we got most of the song done. And Reed, my co-writer, has a great version of this as well. Like, he sang it. And then for my own, I play it out, so I'm like, I'm going to sing my own version. So me, Bill, and Reed have our own versions we do, you know.
That's cool.
But this one was on hold with the Oak Ridge Boys for a little while. There was
How
gonna
about
be,
that, huh?
Yeah, that was really cool, like,
Wow.
to hear. And they were working on a gospel album, so it fit.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool part, this is what the story I've heard, and it was verified by Chris Golden, I guess, who had a Chris Golden. Okay, I'm jumping ahead here.
Yeah.
But the Oak Ridge Boys had it on hold, and then it was one of those last songs to we're gonna pass on that. And they were being produced by Dave Cobb.
Wow.
Who also produces
Big time.
Chris Stapleton, yeah.
Yeah.
And the word is that Dave said to Chris Golden, who is William Lee Golden from the Oak Ridge Boys' son, who also plays with the Oak Ridge Boys as well. Dave Cobb told Chris, hey, this is a great song. You should cut it, you know. So Chris cut it, and then it ended up winning or charted on number one on 4 different inspirational charts, and then he won an Inspirational Country Music Association award for it too.
Nice.
So yeah,
Wow. What a great song.
that's very cool. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever be a inspirational country writer, but you know, now I've written a couple. Like this other one we talked about before we were on the cast, "The Lost Amen," was really. You know,
That's really something.
I'm a believer, so I don't have any problem writing that. I just was always wondering where's the money at, you know. Well, and it ain't like I'm looking for money. It's just like, man, I got to live. I need a livelihood,
Exactly.
right? And just to throw this in the mix of that whole comment I just made, it's like, I think any of us true artists, writers, we're not in it for the money. We just need the money to be able to do it.
I got you.
The capital to do it
do it
instead
for
of a day job like you know we all have. That's what I do during the day, is work on other people's songs so I can get paid. You know,
Yeah.
but that's it. The true artists, we need money to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Yeah, it comes down to
harder
that.
and harder.
It's not about the money. It's about the money.
Right? Yeah.
So you do demos and things out of your studio?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And people can reach you online.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I'm backing away from that because I want to focus more on this Instruments for Education organization that I started.
Let's talk about that. And I wanted to save that best for last. You found it. Did you find this organization? You the one that started it?
Yeah, let's get into that. So I'm not going to be doing so much studio work per se. It's like I need to get back to me writing and what I want to say, some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Instruments for Education is really important to me. I started it in 2018. And how it came about was there was another songwriter friend of mine asked me, hey, do you have a keyboard or, you know, that I could borrow? I want to give it to my husband who's writing or who's teaching in schools, and he wanted one for the classroom. And I'm like, I think I remember saying, like, well, can't he just get one from the band room and bring it in there? Nah, they don't let him do that. So anyway, gave this keyboard to her, and the teacher sent me back a video of him teaching his 5th grade class the phases of the moon to the melody of Blue Moon. And so the kids wrote the lyrics, they learned the science, and they all sang it. And he literally, they were arm in arm, like picture 15 kids like rocking back and forth, arm in arm, singing about the phases of the moon. And I'm like, bing, you know what? We have enough friends in this community that have all these starter instruments that we're not using anymore. I'm going to just ask my peers, hey, if you're not using that guitar, do you think you could give it to me and I'll get it into a classroom, you know? And I thought that's...
What a great idea.
Yeah, and you know what? That teacher there that did that, he's the most like teacher to them kids, the most engaging. He's the one giving the kids the most and making the best connection to young kids. So why not, like... And the teachers don't even have to play, but let's give the teachers in the classroom the opportunity to have at no cost a keyboard, some bongos, some shakers, some tambourines, some guitars, acoustic guitars, electric guitars. I'm not saying fill your room, but let's have those instruments, maybe just a guitar sitting in there. The kids can explore it, check it out. And, you know, like I've been to many of the schools around Nashville now, and some of the you know, I'll go in there and I'll go, hey, how many do you want to play instrument? All their hands go up.
Yeah.
How many of you have a guitar or a keyboard at home? You get a couple. And then it's, how many of you have ever visited a music store like Guitar Center, like, and just go in and just play with all the toys? Zero. You know, the parents, you know, the parents probably don't have time, but like, imagine if my son said, hey, will you take me to the music store? Man, if I'm wrapped up in work, I don't know if I could either. But the short part of that story is like, let's just give the kids the opportunity to pick up a guitar and explore it and check it out, or a keyboard.
I love what you do.
It might hook them. If they're interested, reach out. I'll get you another guitar and you can take it home. You know,
and I can tell you're so passionate about it. And the real sad thing is they cut the funds. And what's the first thing to go? It's music programs. And it's just really sad because music is so important in our lives, especially for young minds, I think. Yeah. To explore creativity.
Imagine like so you get a kid into guitar and he learns a couple chords, and now he's not on his iPad and his Xbox and his Netflix. It's like, do something real and creative. It's almost like building a birdhouse. Like, hey, when you're done building that birdhouse, you go, check what I made. Look at the birds at it. You know, there's pride in that.
Yes, there is.
And it's physical and it's real, and it's not like, you know, maybe later in your career as a guitar player, you want likes and things like that, clicks on your post. But man, and it's also, you know, as a songwriter, to vent. Like, you come home, you know, teenage kid being crabby and he knows how to play a little guitar. Now he can get some of that out. Whether he puts it out or shows his friends or not, you just changed his mood because he can vent a little bit. And that's what I think is really important.
You know, I think it is too. And I just think about the greatest gift I think I ever had. My brother and I, it was a Christmas gift on our 11th birthday, were guitars that my parents bought. They are, I mean, I look back, that is the greatest gift I was ever given. It gave me a lifetime of music. And so you're doing this for these kids that would probably not get it anywhere else. So it's so important what you do. And I also admire you put on these shows around town. You've got one coming up here on the 20th, is it? So tell us more about that.
Yeah, October 20th at the Listening Room in Nashville.
Which is a cool venue for songwriters.
One of the premier venues for...
You may not be able to get in the Blooper, but you might be able to get in to see songwriters, good songwriters, professional songwriters.
Much bigger venue.
Bigger venue, yes.
Yeah, so October 20th at 6 p.m. we're doing just a dinner show, and I've got... 3 hit writers that are friends of mine that actually, you've talked about Nancy Decken on this show. We've partnered to put this one together.
Discover Sooner.
Yeah, Discover Sooner. And that way, she's got one of the hit writers, Pete Salas, on board, and he can speak about a little bit about Discover Sooner. And then I've got my good friend Joe West, who's had 3 number ones himself with Toby Keith, Keith Urban, and Steve Dean, who's got 10 number ones, I believe.
Cool guy. Also Hits and Grins with Bill Whitey was on the show not too long ago.
And it's like, and here, you know, they volunteered to do the show to help raise money, and hopefully we can sell this out and fill those seats, and then all the proceeds go back into buying new instruments and delivering the instruments. So,
that's fantastic.
So sometimes I do run out of inventory, and some things I don't get. Like, I get more requests for ukuleles, you know.
That's a big instrument these days.
Yeah, so now, since I don't get donations of ukulele, I get guitars a lot, but I just go buy that and supply the room, you know, if the fund's there. I'm always on this shoestring ebb and flow of what I can do based on the money, and, you know, and it's I got to get into more like grant requests, but grants get to be like, I mean, this is where I'm at. And
let's take this thing nationwide.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, let's grow. First time we're doing Middle Tennessee, which I can cover. But it's always the funding to reach more and let people know what we're doing. So that's a big part of it. It's just, I would love to be able to get some sort of grant, and those, I don't know if you've ever looked at into government grants, but it's like filling out a 30-page business plan, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I don't have the time to do that. I need to get help. Well, you need to pay help. I need employees for this organization. So I'm kind of ranting here, but it's like I'm at this stage. Well, we lost a year as well.
Yeah, because of COVID, right?
Yeah, I couldn't even get into the schools. So, but yeah, it's like making people aware of it. Maybe find some philanthropic people who would invest in it. Then we can get our technology up, our marketing up, and be able to deliver on requests statewide. And then hopefully build it out bigger. It's like. It's a very important focus right now.
It really is. And if you're here in town, even if you're coming in, save that date, the 20th?
October 20th at the Listening Room in Nashville. The show's at 6 p.m. And you can
as well.
You can get tickets online at listeningroom.com right now. And also, if you're local and you have an instrument to bring, we're going to have a truck there to take instruments back home. So
I understand a very big country star made a huge donation to you.
Oh yeah,
for instruments and education.
Yeah, man. Very cool. A team member of Keith Urban's reached out to me and just said, "Hey, we've got a few guitars here that Keith would like to donate." So
that's cool, man.
He donated electric guitars mostly.
Oh.
And so those are harder to donate at. Whenever someone makes a request for me to, hey, I'd love some instruments for my classroom. Like, you want acoustic guitar or electric with a little amp? Mm-hmm. And I always go for the acoustic. But yes, I'm waiting for the perfect opportunities to give these electrics out. But they were, donated directly from Keith Urban.
Is so cool.
Yeah. And there's a couple videos. I have a YouTube.com. I don't have quite enough subscribers on there, but if you search Instruments for Education, you'll find it. I can't get that in the URL yet, but you'll see some of the videos of me delivering the Keith Urban guitars.
Pretty cool. So, Check it out. Great thing that you're doing there, and I really applaud you for that, and a big believer in that.
I think that makes me feel another part of this is like when we all come to Nashville as writers and want to break into this town, the first things we're doing is like, hey, that's so-and-so. Can you introduce me? Can you play my song? Can you can you help me get heard?
Take.
Exactly. I felt like I was always asking for something, and then I'm like, man, this is a way for me to give back and not ask for anything in return.
That is fantastic. But bring tear to my eyes. That's great.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you for being on the show, and I do hope people will check that out. Instruments for Education. It's very important work that you do.
Instrumentsforeducation.org. If you go to that website, you'll find out there's videos on there. There's everything about what we're doing, and like I said, man, we could really use the financial support to take this to the next level.
Very important.
Yeah.
Well, I want to take out with a song, and this is another from that CD. This is called Spin. You got a little story behind that one?
Yeah, actually, this song was written online. It was actually pre-COVID, and I was a little uncomfortable writing online, like we all are, because it's hard with lag and interaction.
Zoom rights, yeah.
Wrote this with Jane Sachs and Marla Rubenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Marla kind of got me and Jane and her together on this, and she had this idea called Spin, and that was about what we had, and we just fleshed it out online, and like it became this story of a hand-me-down car from a grandpa.
Nice.
And then how that goes as the kid gets older and the grandpa gets older and the car's still around.
Mm-hmm.
There's a life story in it,
Cool. Well, let's spin on the Songwriter Connection podcast with Troy Castellano.
Couldn't wait for Sundays to come around. Off in the distance out here, that V8 sound. Grandpa's red Camaro picking me up for Dairy Queen. I had a feeling something was different that day. He took a left when he would usually go straight. Stopped around the corner, said, son, I know you're only 13, but slide on over and let's switch seats. You take the wheel and I'll take the heel. Ain't this freedom worth the trouble we could be in? And I got faith and you got this, so go go for a spin. She still runs like a dream, and she's in good hands. His eyes shaky, but he still knows who I am. He's waiting there in his wheelchair like he's all dressed for church. He cracks a smile when he sees that old Camaro and me. Nurse helps him in, and once we hit a back street, I say it's been years since you shifted these gears. Grandpa, what will it hurt? So sign on over, let's switch seats. You take the wheel and I'll take the heel. Ain't this freedom worth the trouble we could be in? I got faith and you got this, so go ahead and step on in. The sun's going down faster than you think, so take it all in and let's go for a spin. Said that there's high rides in heaven when we're both there one day. Don't be surprised if I pull up and say, sign on over, let's switch seats. You take the wheel and I'll take the heel. The sun goes down faster than you think. Now did we take it all in? Nah, let's go for a spin. Let's go for a spin. Let's go for a spin.
You know, one of the reasons I do this podcast is there's so many great songs, like the one you just heard right there, that that just need to get out there. Maybe they're not cut by big artists, and maybe you're not hearing them on the radio, but there are great songs out there, and great songwriters like our guest today, Troy Castellano. And that's why I like to bring you this show. Meet people like this.
Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Man, that is a fantastic song.
Thank you.
You've got songs, brother. Let me tell you.
Man, that's the, like, for me, it's like sometimes I get disheartened with the business of songwriting, you know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all talk about this behind the scenes, but it's like, man, I mean, and I've heard them from so many of my peers too, songs that just crush me. Yeah. And I know they're getting pitched, but for some reason it's just like not radio, they say, you know. Like,
yeah.
what?
Or they're getting cut and not making the record, or the record company folds just before it comes out, or you know, there's so many ways to kill a song, as Nancy Deckett says.
I heard that on your podcast.
We're gonna start a new podcast called How to Kill a Song, because there's so many out there. So, and we're looking forward to bringing that a little bit later on.
Yeah, you need to do that podcast.
That should be fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I just continue to wish you all the best of luck.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Yeah, too. and for this Instruments in Education, which is just an amazing thing that you do. We're all behind you on that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Troy Castellano, our guest on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Join us next time.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.